You know, if you're like millions of people around the world, you probably reach for instant coffee because it's quick, it's easy, and honestly, sometimes you just don't have time to deal with a full brewing setup. I get it. But here's the thing, not all instant coffee is created equal. And some of what's sitting in your pantry right now, it might be doing more harm than good. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 instant coffee brands and products you should absolutely avoid. And I'm not just throwing shade here. I've got real reasons. Ingredient breakdowns, health concerns, taste issues, and some pretty eye-opening research. But don't worry, I'm not leaving you hanging. I'll also share 5 instant coffee options that are actually worth your money and worth drinking. This isn't some clickbait list where I bash brands for no reason. I spent time digging into ingredient labels, reading nutrition research, looking at consumer taste tests, and yes, even trying some of these myself. So whether you're a daily instant coffee drinker or you just keep some in the cupboard for emergencies, you'll want to stick around for this. Before we get into the specific brands, I need to give you some quick context because not all instant coffee is the same thing. There are basically 2 major categories you need to understand. First, you've got pure instant coffee. This is freeze-dried or spray-dried coffee crystals made only from actual coffee beans. The ingredient list? It should literally just say instant coffee or coffee. That's it. No sugar, no creamer, no stabilizers. Just coffee that's been processed to dissolve quickly in water. Then you've got instant coffee mixes, often called 3-in-1 products. These bundle together coffee, creamer, and sugar all in one convenient packet. And this is where things get dicey, because these mixes often contain stabilizers, vegetable oils, maltodextrin, and a bunch of other ingredients that have nothing to do with coffee. Now, here's where the research comes in. Public health studies have actually flagged instant coffee mixes as potentially problematic. Not because of the coffee itself, but because of all that added sugar and powdered creamer. One study published on ResearchGate found associations between instant mix consumption and markers of metabolic syndrome. The researchers pointed directly to the sugar and creamer ingredients as the likely culprits, not the coffee. So when we talk about brands to avoid today, you're going to see a pattern. Most of them fall into that second category. Mixes loaded with sugar, processed fats, and fillers that push actual coffee content way down the list. Let me be clear about how I'm judging these products. When I say avoid, I'm looking at 4 main factors. First, ingredient concerns. That means excessive sugar, hydrogenated oils, palm oils, maltodextrin, artificial flavors, basically non-coffee. Ingredients that turn your cup into a chemistry experiment. Second, low actual coffee content. Some of these products contain such a tiny percentage of real coffee that you're basically drinking sweetened creamer with a coffee aftertaste. Third, documented taste problems. I'm talking about consumer reviews and blind taste tests, where products consistently score low for being weak, bitter, burnt tasting, or just plain off. And fourth, sustainability or ethical red flags. If a brand charges premium prices but refuses to disclose anything about their sourcing or uses questionable practices, that's a problem. On the flip side, when I recommend something as worth buying, I'm prioritizing products with 100% coffee ingredients, good processing methods like freeze drying, positive independent taste reviews, and transparent sourcing or certifications. Fair trade, organic, single origin, these things matter. All right, let's get into the brands you should avoid. Nescafe, 3-in-1. Let's start with probably the most popular instant coffee product on the planet, Nescafe's 3-in-1 sachets. These little gold and red packets are everywhere, gas stations, supermarkets, office break rooms, hotels, and I'll admit they're incredibly convenient. Tear, pour, stir, done. But convenience comes at a cost. Nescafe 3-in-1 is manufactured by Nestlé, and it's specifically designed as a coffee creamer sugar blend. That's the whole point of it. It's marketed as a perfectly blended, all-in-one solution. You don't need to add anything else, just hot water. But let's look at what's actually in one of these packets. According to Nestlé's own product pages, the typical 3-in-1 contains sugar, powdered creamer, which usually includes glucose syrup and hydrogenated palm kernel oil or palm oil derivatives, stabilizers, emulsifiers, maltodextrin, and artificial coffee flavoring. Oh, and somewhere in there, yes, there's instant coffee too. Notice what I just listed. The first ingredient is sugar, not coffee. Sugar. The second major component is powdered creamer, made with processed vegetable fats. Many of these formulations use hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, which are sources of trans fats. And trans fats, as we know, are linked to increased bad cholesterol and higher risk of heart disease. Here's the bigger picture. If you're drinking these every day, maybe one in the morning, one in the afternoon, you're adding significant amounts of sugar and processed fats to your diet without even realizing it. Each packet typically contains between 8 and 12 grams of sugar. That's 2 to 3 teaspoons per serving. Drink 3 of these a day, and you've consumed nearly 40 grams of sugar just from your coffee. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams per day for women and 36 for men. And remember that research I mentioned earlier about instant coffee mixes being associated with metabolic syndrome markers. This is exactly the type of product those studies were looking at. The mixes, not pure black instant coffee, are the problem. Studies found that regular consumers of 3-in-1 products showed higher risks for insulin resistance and dyslipidemia. Therefore, daily consumption of these sweetened mixes can contribute to long-term health issues. Flavor-wise, Nescafé 3-in-1 is, well, it tastes like sweetened, coffee-flavored milk. The sugar dominates. The creaminess is artificial, kind of waxy on the tongue. And the actual coffee flavor, it's muted, generic, and kind of flat. Many reviewers note that it leaves a slightly chemical aftertaste, probably from the stabilizers and artificial flavorings. In summary, the only real advantages of Nescafé 3-in-1 are its price point and its availability. You can find it almost anywhere, and it's cheap per serving. But you're paying for that convenience with your health. You're consuming unnecessary sugar, processed fats, and very little actual coffee. Therefore, if you're currently using Nescafé 3-in-1 regularly, I strongly recommend making a switch. Your body will thank you. Now, if you like Nescafé and want to stick with the brand, here's what to do instead. Buy Nescafé Taster's Choice or their classic pure instant coffee. These products list only one ingredient, instant coffee. You can then add your own milk or sugar if you want, but at least you'll control how much goes in. And honestly, the coffee taste is significantly better when it's not competing with all those additives. Trung Nguyen G73in1. Next up, Trung Nguyen's G73in1 Instant Coffee. This is a massive seller, especially if you're familiar with Vietnamese coffee culture. G7 markets itself as bold, rich, authentic Vietnamese coffee in a convenient format. And to be fair, Vietnamese coffee is amazing, strong, flavorful, traditionally brewed with a fin filter and sweetened condensed milk. Trung Nguyen is one of Vietnam's biggest coffee companies, and their G7 3-in-1 product line is exported all over the world. You'll find it on Amazon, in Asian grocery stores, even in mainstream supermarkets now. It's popular because people associate it with that authentic Vietnamese coffee experience. But let's read the ingredient list. According to multiple retailer listings and the packaging itself, G7 3-in-1 contains sugar, non-dairy creamer, typically made with glucose syrup, hydrogenated vegetable fat, and sodium caseinate, maltodextrin, microground coffee, iodized salt, and artificial coffee flavor. So again, we're looking at a product where sugar is the dominant ingredient. The non-dairy creamer is the second major component, and it's loaded with processed fats and stabilizers. The actual coffee content, it's in there, sure, but it's buried under layers of sweetener and creamer powder. And here's the kicker. Many formulations also include artificial coffee flavor. Think about that for a second. If the product contains real coffee, why would you need artificial coffee flavoring? It's because the real coffee content is so low that they have to boost the coffee taste artificially. Health-wise, this product has the same problems as Nescafé 3-in-1. High sugar content, often 10 to 12 grams per packet. Hydrogenated vegetable fats, maltodextrin, which is a high glycemic index carbohydrate that can spike blood sugar. If you're drinking this daily, you're essentially having a dessert disguised as coffee. Many reports indicate that regular consumption of products with hydrogenated fats increases LDL cholesterol, that's the bad cholesterol, and can contribute to cardiovascular disease risk. The nutrition source at Harvard School of Public Health has consistently warned against trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils for decades. Taste-wise, G7 3-in-1 is very sweet, noticeably sweeter than many Western instant mixes. It has that characteristic Vietnamese coffee sweetness, but in this format it can taste cloying. Many consumer reviews on Amazon and other platforms mention that it has a chemical aftertaste or tastes artificial. The coffee flavor itself is bold but often described as harsh or one-dimensional, lacking the complexity you'd get from traditionally brewed Vietnamese coffee. In summary, G7 3-in-1 offers convenience and a boldness that some people enjoy. But it comes with a significant health cost: lots of sugar, processed fats, and artificial additives. The taste doesn't match up to real Vietnamese coffee, and you're not getting the authentic experience you might be hoping for. Therefore, if you love Vietnamese coffee, don't settle for this processed version. There are better ways to enjoy it. If you want authentic Vietnamese coffee flavor, buy pure Trung Nguyen instant coffee. They do make a single ingredient version with just instant coffee. Or better yet, invest in a Vietnamese Phin. Filter and brew it properly with ground Vietnamese Robusta beans. You can add sweetened, condensed milk yourself if you like it traditional style, and you'll control exactly how much sweetness goes in. The flavor will be infinitely better, and you'll avoid all those processed ingredients. Kopiko 3-in-1. Moving on to number 3, Kopiko 3-in-1. Kopiko is an Indonesian brand that's become hugely popular across Asia and increasingly in Western markets. They market themselves as authentic, bold, and premium instant coffee. But as you're probably starting to see a pattern here, that 3-in-1 format is a red flag. Kopiko offers several product lines. They make coffee candies, pure instant coffee, and these 3-in-1 mix packets. The 3-in-1 line comes in various flavors: original, brown coffee, white coffee, cappuccino. They're sold in boxes of individual sachets, and they're marketed as a quick, delicious coffee experience. Let's examine what's inside a Kopiko 3-in-1 packet. According to ingredient listings from UK and Asian retailers, the typical formulation includes often more than 50% of the total weight, non-dairy creamer containing glucose syrup and hydrogenated vegetable fat, usually coconut oil or palm kernel oil, sodium caseinate, stabilizers like dipotassium phosphate, emulsifiers, and then instant coffee. Sugar is literally the first ingredient. That means by weight, there's more sugar in this packet than anything else. The non-dairy creamer is second, and it's made with hydrogenated fats. These are the same processed vegetable fats we've been talking about, associated with raising bad cholesterol and increasing heart disease risk. The health implications here are serious if you're drinking this regularly. One sachet can contain anywhere from 9 to 14 grams of sugar, depending on the variety. That's approaching your entire daily recommended limit in just 1 cup of coffee. Add the hydrogenated fats, and you're consuming a beverage that nutritionists would classify as a sometimes food at best. Research from the World Health Organization recommends limiting free sugars to less than 10% of total energy intake, and ideally below 5%. If you're having 2 or 3 Kopiko 3-in-1 second per day, you're blowing past those recommendations just from your coffee. Flavor-wise, Kopiko 3-in-1 is intensely sweet and creamy. The coffee flavor is there, but it's overpowered by sweetness. The texture is thick and almost syrupy. Many reviewers describe it as tasting like coffee candy in liquid form, which makes sense since Kopiko's main product is literally coffee candy. The aftertaste is often described as artificial or chemical, with a lingering sweetness that coats your mouth. The white coffee variety is even sweeter and creamier, with barely any coffee bitterness coming through at all. It tastes more like a dessert drink than actual coffee. In summary, Kopiko 3-in-1 offers bold flavor and convenience, but at what cost? You're essentially drinking a sugar bomb with processed fats and minimal real coffee content. The taste might be appealing if you have a sweet tooth, but it's not really coffee. It's a coffee-flavored confection. Therefore, for anyone who cares about their health or who actually wants to taste coffee, this product is one to skip. If you enjoy Kopiko's bold flavor profile, try a pure instant espresso blend instead. Brands like Café Bustelo offer instant options with just coffee, no sugar, no creamer. You can add your own milk and a touch of sugar if you want, but you'll use far less than what's packed into these sachets. Or explore proper espresso-style instant coffees that give you that intensity without the junk. Indo Cafe 3-in-1 Coffee Mix, brand number 4 to avoid. Indo Cafe 3-in-1 Coffee Mix. Indo Cafe is an Indonesian brand from PT Panggan Jaya, and it's another massive player in the Phalanx instant coffee mix market, especially throughout Southeast Asia. Indo Cafe has been around since the 1992 and markets itself as quality instant coffee for busy people. Their 3-in-1 coffee mix line comes in several varieties: original, cappuccino, caramel, hazelnut. They're widely available in Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, and increasingly in international markets through Asian grocery stores and online retailers. Let's look at the ingredients. According to product listings and packaging from retailers like FairPrice in Singapore, Indo Cafe 3-in-1 contains sugar, again, listed first, non-dairy creamer made with glucose syrup and hardened vegetable fat, stabilizers, including dipotassium phosphate and sodium caseinate, instant coffee, and in some varieties, artificial flavorings. This is the exact same structural problem we've been seeing. The product is dominated by sugar and stabilized vegetable fats. The coffee is present, but it's a minor player in the overall formulation. The health concerns are identical to what we've discussed with the previous 3-in-1 products. High sugar content, A, typically 10 to 13 grams per sachet. Hardened or partially hydrogenated vegetable fats, which are sources of trans fats or highly saturated fats. Stabilizers and emulsifiers that allow the powder to stay mixed but don't add any nutritional value. Many reports indicate that consuming products with hardened vegetable fat, which is just another way of saying hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated fat, regularly increases the risk of coronary heart disease. The American Heart Association has recommended avoiding these fats for years. Flavor-wise, Indo Cafe 3-in-1 is sweet and creamy with a flat coffee taste. The sweetness hits first, then you get a creamy, almost powdery texture on your tongue, and finally a muted coffee flavor that doesn't have much complexity or depth. It's smooth, sure, but that's because the sugar and creamer are masking any actual coffee character. The flavored varieties, caramel, hazelnut, taste more like artificial syrups than real flavorings. The overall impression is of a sweet, coffee-adjacent beverage rather than actual coffee. In summary, Indo Cafe 3-in-1 is convenient and inexpensive, making it appealing to budget-conscious consumers. But you're paying for that low price with your health. The combination of cheap sugar and stabilized fats gives you a cloying sweetness that masks coffee complexity. If you rely on this for your daily caffeine fix, you're consuming unnecessary sugars and processed fats every single day. Therefore, this is another product to leave on the shelf. Instead, go for pure instant coffees from reputable freeze-dried brands. Brands like Mount Hagen, Waka, or even Nescafe's pure instant lines give you real coffee flavor without the additives. The taste is closer to brewed coffee, the ingredient list is clean, and you'll actually be drinking coffee instead of a sugar and creamer cocktail with a hint of coffee flavor. Maxwell House International Cafe, number 5 on our avoid list. Maxwell House International Cafe flavored instant coffee drinks. These are the French vanilla, hazelnut, mocha, and other flavored cafe-style mixes that Maxwell House has been selling for decades. Maxwell House International Cafe positions itself as a way to enjoy cafe-style specialty drinks at home without the expensive cafe price tag. The canisters are colorful, the flavors sound appealing: French vanilla cafe, hazelnut cafe, mocha latte, cafe francais. They're marketed as indulgent treats you can make in seconds. But let's read the fine print. According to ingredient listings from retailers like H-E-B and product labels, these mixes typically contain sugar or corn syrup solids as the first ingredient, non-dairy creamer made with partially hydrogenated coconut oil or palm oil, maltodextrin, instant coffee, usually less than 2% of the total, product, artificial, and natural flavors, sodium caseinate, dipotassium phosphate, and various other stabilizers and coloring agents. Did you catch that? Instant coffee is often less than 2% of the product by weight. You're essentially drinking flavored sugar and creamer powder with a token amount of coffee thrown in. And those partially hydrogenated oils, those are trans fats. Even though the FDA has pushed to eliminate artificial trans fats from the food supply, some products still contain residual amounts, especially in imported or older stock items. The health implications are significant. Each serving typically contains 10 to 15 grams of sugar. That's 2.5 to nearly 4 teaspoons of sugar per cup. If you're making this twice a day, you're consuming 20 to 30 grams of sugar just from your coffee drinks. That's essentially your entire daily sugar allowance gone before you've even eaten any actual food. The partially hydrogenated fats are also concerning. Many reports indicate that even small amounts of trans fats increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. The FDA concluded that partially hydrogenated oils are not generally recognized as safe for use in human food. Taste-wise, these products are intensely sweet and artificially flavored. The French vanilla variety, for example, tastes like vanilla syrup mixed with sweet creamer and a faint hint of coffee in the background. The hazelnut version has that characteristic artificial hazelnut flavor, kind of like cheap hazelnut syrup you'd find at a low-end cafe. The texture is creamy but sometimes grainy, and many users report that it leaves a coating in your mouth. The coffee component is so weak that you're basically drinking a hot, sweet, flavored milk drink with a coffee whisper. In summary, Maxwell House International Cafe mixes are convenient and taste like dessert in a cup, but that's exactly the problem. They are basically dessert, not coffee. If you're tracking your saturated fat intake, your sugar consumption, or trying to avoid chemical additives and artificial flavors, these products are a bad daily habit. Therefore, if you want a flavored coffee drink, there are much better ways to achieve that without resorting to these processed mixes. Here's what I recommend instead. Buy a pure instant coffee, something like Café Bustelo Instant or Mount Hagen, and flavor it yourself with real ingredients. Add a dash of cinnamon, a drop of real vanilla extract, a touch of cocoa powder for a mocha vibe, or buy flavored coffee that uses natural flavorings added to the coffee beans themselves, not artificial syrup powders. You'll get real flavor, real coffee, and you'll control exactly how much sweetness goes into your cup. Generic Supermarket 3, IN1 Sachets brand. Number 6, or rather, category number 6, is generic or private label supermarket 3-in-1 sachets. This isn't a single brand, it's the entire category of no-name, store brand, or ultra-cheap instant coffee mix sachets you find at discount stores, dollar stores, and bargain supermarkets. These products usually come in plain packaging or store brand labels. They're the absolute cheapest instant coffee you can buy, sometimes 20 or 30 sachets for just a few dollars. They're marketed purely on price. Why pay more for coffee? The ingredient panels on these products are often the worst of the worst. Typical ingredients include sugar as the dominant component, sometimes 60% or more of the packet weight, non-dairy creamer made with hardened palm oil or coconut fat, glucose syrup, maltodextrin, stabilizers, artificial coffee flavor, and a small amount of instant coffee powder. Some retailers even list hardened palm oil explicitly on the label. Palm oil production is associated with significant environmental concerns, including deforestation and habitat destruction. Beyond that, hardened palm oil is highly saturated, about 50% saturated fat content, which contributes to raising LDL cholesterol. The health profile of these generic mixes is terrible. You're getting huge amounts of sugar, often 12 to 15 grams per packet. You're getting saturated fats from palm or coconut oil. You're getting very little actual coffee. And you're supporting production practices that often have poor transparency and questionable sourcing. Many reports indicate that the coffee used in ultra-cheap mixes is the lowest grade available, often Robusta beans that have been over-roasted or even mixed with fillers like chicory or barley. While chicory itself isn't harmful, the lack of transparency means you don't really know what you're drinking. Taste-wise, these generic 3-in-1 sachets are usually disappointing. The flavor is very sweet, often with an unpleasant chemical aftertaste. The coffee taste is weak and sometimes burnt or bitter in a harsh way. The texture can be gritty or waxy. Many consumer reviews across various platforms consistently rate these products poorly for taste quality. In short, you get what you pay for. The ultra-low price means ultra-low quality in every aspect. In summary, the only advantage of generic 3-in-1 sachets is price. They're cheap, but that low cost comes with significant trade-offs: poor formulation, minimal coffee content, high sugar, and processed fat content, often terrible taste, and no transparency about sourcing. You might save $1, but you're drinking processed sugars and fats instead of coffee. Therefore, these products are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to instant coffee. Skip them entirely. Instead, buy an affordable, pure instant coffee jar from a major brand. Products like Nescafe Classic, Folgers Instant, or Maxwell House Original Instant, not the flavored mixes, cost only slightly more per cup once you remove the pre-added sugar and creamer. You'll get actual coffee, you can control what goes into your cup, and the taste will be significantly better. The per-serving cost is comparable when you're not paying for all that added sugar and fat. Low-cost instant cappuccino. Late mixes, finally, number 7 on our avoid list. Low-cost instant cappuccino and latte powder mixes. These appear under various brand names across different markets. Some are branded, some are generic, but they all share the same basic formulation problem. These products promise cafe-style cappuccinos or lattes in an instant. They come in large tubs or individual sachets. The marketing emphasizes convenience. Why go to Starbucks when you can make a cappuccino at home for pennies? They often feature pictures of frothy, cafe-style drinks with latte art on the packaging. But let's look at what's really in these mixes. Typical ingredients include sugar or corn syrup solids, non-dairy creamer made with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, milk solids or sodium caseinate, stabilizers and emulsifiers, maltodextrin, a small amount of instant coffee, sometimes as little as 1 to 2%, and in chocolate varieties, powdered cocoa or chocolate flavoring. These products are essentially sweetened, powdered milk or cream mixes with a pinch of coffee. The coffee content is so minimal that you could barely call them coffee drinks at all. They're more like hot chocolate mixes with a coffee note. The health concerns are the same as with all the other mixes we've discussed, but amplified. Very high sugar content ATS, often 15 to 20 grams per serving. Hydrogenated fats. Minimal nutritional value beyond calories. If you're drinking these thinking you're having a coffee, you're actually consuming what's essentially a dessert beverage. The combination of high sugar and processed fats in a regular drink is particularly concerning. A 2014 meta-analysis published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that higher sugar consumption was significantly associated with increased cardiovascular disease mortality. Therefore, making these sweetened cappuccino mixes a daily habit could contribute to long-term health risks. Flavor-wise, these instant cappuccino and latte mixes taste sweet and milky with only a faint coffee presence. The cappuccino versions are supposed to be frothy, but the foam they produce is artificial and doesn't resemble real espresso foam at all. It's more like soap bubbles, large, airy, and tasteless. The latte versions are creamy and sweet but lack the actual coffee-to-milk balance you'd get in a real latte. Many taste testers describe them as hot milk with sugar and a hint of coffee, or like drinking coffee ice cream that melted. In summary, instant cappuccino and latte mixes offer convenience and a low price point, but they sacrifice quality, health, and authenticity. You're not getting anything close to a real cafe drink. You're getting a sugar and creamer concoction with minimal coffee. Therefore, if you want a cappuccino or latte, skip these mixes and make the real thing. Here's a better approach. Use a pure instant espresso or strong instant coffee. Brands like Il Intenso or Cafe Bustelo work great. Add it to heated milk that you frothed with a handheld milk frother. They cost about $10. Or use a stovetop espresso maker if you want to go more traditional. You'll control the sugar or skip it entirely. You'll get real coffee flavor, and the milk will taste like actual milk instead of powdered creamer. The result is infinitely better and actually healthier. All right, let's take a quick breath and recap what we've covered so far. We've gone through 7 instant coffee products or categories to avoid, and if you noticed a pattern, most of them are 3-in-1 or cafe mix products, where sugar and creamer completely dominate the formulation. The ingredient panels across Nestlé's 3-in-1, G7, Copico, Indo Cafe, Maxwell House International Cafe, generic store brands, and instant cappuccino mixes all show the same problematic structure. Sugar first, processed creamer second, minimal coffee content, and a bunch of stabilizers and artificial flavors to hold it all together. The health research backs up why these products are concerning. Studies have linked instant coffee mix consumption to higher metabolic syndrome markers, not because of coffee itself, but because of all that added sugar and processed creamer. But here's the good news. Instant coffee doesn't have to be this way. In fact, some modern pure instant coffees are actually excellent. Independent blind taste tests and consumer reviews have started showing that high-quality freeze-dried and micro-ground instant coffees can rival brewed coffee in flavor and quality. So now, let's pivot to the positive side. Let me share 5 instant coffee products that are actually worth buying. Products with clean ingredients, good taste, and transparent sourcing. The 5 instant coffees worth buying. Illy Instant Intenso, classic. First up on the worth buying list, Illy Instant Coffee, particularly their Intenso and classic varieties. Illy is an Italian coffee company with a reputation for quality. They've been around since 1933, and they're known for their attention to detail in sourcing, roasting, and processing. Their instant coffee line brings that same quality consciousness to the convenience format. Illy's instant coffee lists just one ingredient, Arabica instant coffee. But they do something clever. In varieties like the Intenso, they add a measured percentage of micro-ground Arabica beans, typically around 15%, to the freeze-dried instant crystals. This means you get the convenience of instant coffee plus some of the texture and aroma compounds that are preserved in finely ground coffee. The ingredient list is clean. Coffee and only coffee. No sugar, no creamer, no stabilizers, no fillers. Illy uses a freeze-drying process, which is the gold standard for instant coffee. Freeze-drying preserves more of the volatile aroma compounds that give coffee its complex flavor compared to spray drying. The addition of micro-ground coffee recovers some of the mouthfeel and body that traditional instant coffee often lacks. Independent taste panels have consistently rated Illy Instant highly. It regularly appears in Best Instant Coffee Roundups and is praised for delivering a cup that actually tastes like brewed coffee rather than instant. Flavor-wise, Illy Intenso offers rich, cocoa and dried fruit notes with a fuller body than typical instant coffee. The finish is clean, no harsh aftertaste. The classic variety is smoother and more balanced, with a pleasant medium roast character. The micro-ground inclusion gives you a hint of texture in the cup, not unpleasant, just a subtle reminder that you're drinking real ground coffee along with the instant crystals. This is ideal for coffee lovers who want genuine single-cup convenience, without compromising on flavor or quality. It's perfect for travel, for keeping at the office, or for those mornings when you need coffee fast but don't want to sacrifice taste. Illy Instant is available at specialty grocery stores, online through Illy's website, and on Amazon. It's more expensive than budget instant coffee, typically $10 to $15 for a jar, but the quality justifies the price. Mount Hagen Organic Freeze-Dried Instant. Second recommendation, Mount Hagen Organic Freeze-Dried Instant Coffee. Mount Hagen is a German brand that's become the go-to recommendation among chefs, food writers, and coffee enthusiasts who need instant coffee. It's distributed in many countries and has developed a cult following for good reason. The ingredient list is about as simple as it gets. 100% freeze-dried organic Arabica coffee. That's it. No additives, no sugar, no anything else. Many varieties also carry fair trade certification, meaning the coffee is sourced from farms that meet specific labor and environmental standards. Mount Hagen uses high-quality Arabica beans sourced from Papua New Guinea and other regions, and they freeze-dry the coffee to preserve flavor. The organic certification means the coffee is grown without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. The Fair Trade certification ensures farmers receive fair wages and work under ethical conditions. In terms of taste, Mount Hagen consistently appears in Best Instant Coffee lists and expert taste tests. It's recommended by outlets like The Guardian, which ran a blind taste test in 2025, where Mount Hagen scored extremely well for flavor, clarity, and lack of bitter aftertaste. The flavor profile is smooth, balanced, and surprisingly complex for instant coffee. You get clean coffee flavors, slightly nutty, with subtle fruit notes depending on the roast level, and a pleasant acidity that's bright without being sour. The finish is clean, with no weird chemical aftertaste. Many users describe it as the instant coffee that actually tastes like coffee, which sounds simple, but it's a rare compliment in the instant coffee world. Mount Hagen is perfect for ethical shoppers who care about sourcing and sustainability, and for anyone who wants a no-junk instant coffee that delivers on flavor. It's great for everyday drinking, for travel, or for keeping in your office desk drawer. You can find Mount Hagen at health food stores, Whole Foods, upscale grocery chains, and online through Amazon or specialty coffee retailers. Price is moderate, usually $8 to $12 for a 3.5 ounces jar, which works out to about 30 to 40 cents per cup. That's more than generic instant but less than a cafe coffee. Waka Instant Coffee. Third on the list, Waka Instant Coffee. Waka is a relatively new player in the instant coffee market, founded in the last decade, and they've positioned themselves as a premium, modern, instant coffee brand that appeals to quality-conscious millennials and coffee enthusiasts who want convenience without compromising standards. Waka's formula is beautifully simple: 100% freeze-dried Arabica coffee from Colombia, single origin, single ingredient, no sugar, no creamer, no stabilizers, just coffee. Waka uses a freeze-drying process that the company claims preserves up to 95% of the coffee's original flavor compounds. They source their beans from Colombian farms and emphasize quality at every step, from selective picking to careful roasting to precise freeze-drying. The brand has built a strong following through transparency. They openly discuss their sourcing, their process, and their quality standards on their website and social media. Customer reviews consistently praise Waka for delivering a cup that tastes like pour-over coffee rather than instant. Waka's medium roast offers a clean, bright acidity with citrus notes, think lemon or orange zest, and a smooth finish. It's notably transparent in flavor. You can actually taste the coffee characteristics rather than just generic coffee flavor. The texture is light and the coffee dissolves instantly in both hot and cold water, making it versatile. Many users make iced coffee with Waka by simply stirring it into cold water or milk, no brewing required. Waka is ideal for people who want instant coffee that legitimately tastes like brewed coffee. It's great for travel, camping, office use, or for making quick iced coffee drinks. The cold water solubility makes it particularly useful for cold brew-style drinks in summer. Waka is primarily sold online through their website and Amazon. Pricing is in the premium range, about $12 to $15 for a pouch, but the quality and convenience justify the cost for many buyers. Café Bustelo Instant. Fourth recommendation, Café Bustelo Instant Coffee. Café Bustelo is a legendary Cuban-style espresso coffee brand that's been around since 1928. It's famous for its bold, dark roasted flavor and is a staple in Latino households and among coffee drinkers who like strong coffee. Their instant line brings that same intensity to a convenient format. The ingredient list for Café Bustelo Instant is straightforward: 100% pure coffee, no added sugar, no creamer, no fillers, just dark roasted espresso-style instant coffee. Café Bustelo's instant version delivers on the brand's promise of bold, robust flavor. It's freeze-dried to preserve the coffee's characteristics, and it maintains that signature Bustelo strength and richness that fans of the brand expect. In terms of value, Café Bustelo Instant is one of the best quality to price ratios you'll find. It's significantly cheaper than boutique instant brands, but delivers comparable or better flavor. Consumer blind tests and reviews consistently rate it highly for strength, flavor, and value. The flavor profile is bold and dark roasted. Expect deep, smoky notes with a touch of bittersweet chocolate. It's robust enough to stand up to milk and sugar if you like your coffee that way. But it's also good black if you prefer strong, unadulterated coffee. The body is fuller than most instant coffees. You get a richer mouthfeel that's closer to espresso than to weak instant. There's a pleasant, lingering finish without harshness. Café Bustelo Instant is perfect for espresso-style coffee lovers who want quick convenience without sacrificing boldness. It's great for making café con leche, for adding to milk for a strong latte, or for drinking black when you need a serious caffeine kick. It's also fantastic for baking or cooking applications where you need concentrated coffee flavor. Café Bustelo Instant is widely available at mainstream supermarkets, Target, Walmart, and online. It's one of the most affordable quality instant coffees, usually $5 to $8 for a jar, making it an excellent value option. Nescafé Taster's Choice. Premium Pure Instant. Fifth and final recommendation, Nescafe. Taster's Choice and other Nestlé Pure Instant coffee lines. Yes, Nescafe is back on the list, but this time it's the right product. While I told you to avoid Nescafe's 3-in-1 mixes, their pure instant coffee products like Taster's Choice are actually solid options. Nescafe Taster's Choice lists one ingredient, 100% instant coffee. No sugar, no creamer, no additives. It's pure freeze-dried or spray-dried coffee, depending on the variety. Nescafe Taster's Choice has been around for decades and has earned its reputation as a reliable, consistent instant coffee. It's widely available, you can find it in virtually any grocery store worldwide, and it's affordable. The processing quality is good. Nescafe uses freeze drying for their premium lines, which preserves more flavor than cheaper spray drying methods. The coffee is sourced from various regions, blended for consistency, and processed to deliver a smooth, mild cup. For many people, Taster's Choice is the pragmatic buy. It's not artisanal or exotic, but it's dependable, tastes like coffee, and won't break the bank. The flavor profile is smooth and mellow. Think of it as middle-of-the-road coffee. It's not boldly intense like Café Bustelo, nor as bright and fruity as specialty single origins, but it's balanced and pleasant. You get clean coffee flavor without bitterness or weird aftertaste. It's the kind of coffee you can drink black or easily customize with milk and sugar according to your preference. It's predictable in the best way. You know what you're getting every time. Taster's Choice is ideal for people who want cheap, reliable, no junk, instant coffee. It's perfect for keeping at work, for travel, for camping, or for those days when you need coffee but don't want to fuss. It's also great for guests who might not be coffee snobs but just want a decent cup. Nescafe Taster's Choice is available everywhere: supermarkets, convenience, stores, big box retailers, online. Pricing is budget-friendly, usually $5 to $10 for a jar, making it one of the most economical quality instant coffee options. Before we move on, I want to give a quick bonus mention to a few other instant coffees that have earned high marks in recent blind taste tests and expert reviews. Starbucks Via Instant. While it's Starbucks, their instant line is actually pretty good. It's 100% Arabica, comes in individual packets, and offers decent flavor for mainstream instant coffee. Sudden Coffee, if you can find it. This was a specialty instant coffee brand that produced micro-batch freeze-dried single-origin coffees. It's harder to find now, but worth mentioning for enthusiasts. Swift Cup Coffee, HP, another specialty instant brand that offers single-origin, high-quality instant coffees for people who want craft coffee in instant format. The Guardian ran a blind taste test in 2025 where several of these premium instant coffees scored surprisingly high. Some testers said they rivaled brewed coffee in quality. The common thread? They're all 100% coffee with no additives, and they use careful freeze-drying processes. All right, before we wrap up, let me share some quick practical tips to make your instant coffee taste even better. Regardless of which brand you're using, use less water. Most instant coffee packets suggest using 6 to 8 ounces of water. Try using 5 to 6 ounces instead. Concentrating the coffee slightly gives you a stronger, more flavorful cup without bitterness. Bloom the granules first. Before filling your cup, add just a small splash of hot water to the instant coffee granules, maybe a tablespoon or two, and stir to create a paste. Let it sit for 10 to 15 seconds. Then add the rest of your hot water. This blooming process helps release aromatic compounds and improves flavor extraction. Use filtered water and preheat your cup. Water quality matters, even with instant coffee. Use filtered water if possible. It makes a noticeable difference. Also, preheat your cup by rinsing it with hot water before adding the coffee. This keeps your coffee hotter longer and helps with dissolution. Add a pinch of salt. This sounds weird, but a tiny pinch of salt, we're talking 5 to 10 granules, can smooth out any bitterness in instant coffee. Salt suppresses bitter taste receptors on your tongue. Don't add so much that the coffee tastes salty. You just want a barely detectable amount. Use real milk or cream, not powdered creamer. If you like your coffee with cream, use real milk or half and half instead of powdered non-dairy creamer. The flavor and texture are infinitely better, and you avoid all those processed oils and additives we talked about earlier. These simple tricks can elevate even budget instant coffee to something much more enjoyable. So there you have it, a comprehensive breakdown of 7 instant coffee brands and products to avoid and 5 that are legitimately worth buying. To recap the avoid list: Nescafe 3-in-1, Trung Nguyen G7 3-in-1, Kopiko 3-in-1, Indocafe 3-in-1, Maxwell House International Cafe flavored mixes, generic supermarket 3-in-1 sachets, and low-cost instant cappuccino, latte powder mixes. The common thread? They're all dominated by sugar and processed creamer with minimal actual coffee content. They're convenient, sure, but they come with significant health costs and disappointing flavor. On the worth buying side, Illy Instant, Mount Hagen Organic, Waka, Cafe Bustelo Instant, and Nescafe Taster's Choice. These products contain real coffee, just coffee, with no additives, and they're processed using freeze-drying methods that preserve flavor. They taste like actual coffee, they're transparent about sourcing, and they won't sabotage your health with hidden sugars and processed fats. The bottom line is simple: instant coffee doesn't have to be junk. If you choose wisely, you can enjoy genuine coffee flavor and convenience without compromising your health or your taste buds. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments which instant coffee you're currently drinking and whether you're planning to make any switches. And if you want me to cover more coffee topics, maybe how to choose the best ground coffee, or how to upgrade your home brewing setup on a budget, drop your suggestions below. Thanks for watching, and here's to better coffee, even when it's instant.